So good afternoon. I think it's 3:30. And after 2 or 3 speakers before me, after your lunch, I'm sure most of you are now out of your dreams to listen to at least a few things which we can communicate to you. District Governor, past district governors, I must take 2 names in the past. Most of the past district governors of this district are good friends. But I must I feel really very happy to see past district governor George Matthews sitting here. I think he skipped his afternoon nap when he heard that I was coming here. And that was enough for me to be here this afternoon to address such an energetic group of leaders who will lead Rotary in the coming year. One more past governor which I'd like to mention is, I think he left the name in the minute he knew that I was coming here, was your past district governor Raghu. Because this is our time when we used to sit in the Loyola classroom and have our own dreams when somebody was teaching us man and society. Afternoon is not a time to listen to preaching or speeches. It's a time to really snooze and relax. But I think you are all into a session where you are rigged into or groomed into being leaders for the coming years. It's not for 1 year alone. Once you're a leader, you're always a leader. You have been leaders in society. That's why you came into this social organization, the great moment called Rotary. And today, you are here with an assignment. You've always been leaders, but this is a very special assignment to lead your club. And I believe your secretaries are also there here. I must thank past Governor G.S. George, Rotarian Sri Kumar and Rotarian Rajan. I don't know what they found in me. Did they think that I was a dreamer, that I could be good to address you all this afternoon? Maybe. I'm supposed to speak on chasing your dreams or fulfilling your dreams. To do that, the first thing you need is to dream. I don't know how many of the presidents sitting here are dreaming. If they are really dreaming this afternoon after the lunch, or you have a dream to fulfill in the years to come. All this depends on what you have in your mind. Dream cannot be an ambition. Ambition is a long-term program. Maybe it's more confined to your personal self. Dreams just happen like that. You heard the person who introduced me speak about his dreams. But if dreams have to become a reality, you must have heard what the former president of our country said. Dream with your eyes open, and the dream which you dream should not let you sleep till you fulfill it. So that's what the dream which I'm sure I'm supposed to be talking to you about. Many of the achievers in this world, maybe from rags to riches stories or whatever they are, have been definitely dreamers. If they hadn't dreamt of what they had to do or what they wanted to be or what they wanted to achieve, they must have said they must have had a call or somebody showed them the way, but there was a dream. From ancient times, when we read history, Jeanne d'Arc, they say in France, had a calling. It was a dream. Finally, what happened? She led France to victory against the British army. So people had dreams, and they had definitely fulfilled it. Now, what's your dream? Every dream, definitely a president sitting here, I'm 100% sure, will have one dream. Seeing so many past governors sharing the stage and past governors visiting your club, definitely the ultimate dream, every president would have to be one day become a district governor here. I'm 100% sure it's there. But that's not the dream which you should have today when you are a Rotary president. If you dream or if you live or if you think of something which is far beyond you when you are living a present moment, you miss the fun. Elected as president a year ahead for you, dream what you have to do in a year to make your year happy or fulfilling. That's later, maybe in a few years later, you may be able to come back and be a witness to tell the world or tell the future generation what you did as a president. I was introduced as a past Rotarian. I'm still a Rotarian. I'm a Rotarian for 40 years. The time when I joined Rotary in the year 1982-83 when the Rotary Club of Marthandam was formed. And it's quite interesting. I think I'll share it with you because I had just joined my family business where after my college education, and there was a plan to start a Rotary Club in Marthandam where my father was invited. So one evening he called me and said, we'll go to the YMCA for a meeting. So I went with him, and I was surprised when he got up there and introduced his friends to me and said, I came here today because I wanted my son to join Rotary. That was his dream. He dreamt, maybe he thought that bringing me into a social life would be good for me, definitely. Whatever I have achieved socially in this world was that first step I had into this great moment called Rotary in the year 1983. You won't believe I've dreamt, and dreams do happen. There was a time when we joined Rotary, I think there was Worky George, past governor, the senior people would know him. And somebody told me Manek Shaw was the chief guest for his conference. So in the year 1988-89, when I became the president of the Rotary Club of Marthandam, I was elected. Those days we didn't have these kinds of drilling pets and all that. You were free to do what you want as a president. You imagined and you had your year. Nobody told you especially. You copied or you did whatever you felt like and definitely made the impact which you wanted. So I had a dream that I should bring somebody like Manak Shaw for my Rotary meeting where I was to be installed. Ramasamy Iyer was the governor who was there present that evening, whom I had. The Air Chief of Southern Air Command was the chief guest for a Rotary Club meeting. You would think that was too big a guess, but nothing is impossible if you dream into your limited level. He was there in Marthandam that evening, and when an air chief comes for a Rotary meeting, can you imagine the whole, what the ambience he would have created, the pilots and the Air Force men around in our Rotary installation day. So that was my dream, and that's how I realized dreams can be fulfilled. Dreams do really can be achieved, provided you work for it, you plan it well, and you direct your plans to this. Recently, a few months ago, I was invited by this famous magician Mudukad. I don't think I'd have to introduce him to any of the people in Kerala because I think he's in your WhatsApp or anywhere every day. He's a great motivational speaker. But what surprised me was his present dream. If anybody hasn't gone and seen what he's doing now, especially people in this Rotary movement, especially who are interested in social activities, that man had a dream. I think why he told me about how he came into this. We all knew his illusions. The man mesmerized the whole world with his illusions, entertained millions of people. But one day he suddenly stopped. He doesn't do any more of his illusions or magic. He's doing magical wonders for the differently abled children. He said it's happened one day when he was performing for them in a program. And after that, when the dinner was served, he was walking around. He found a child crying. And the mother trying to console him, but she was not feeding him, whereas the rest of the children were having their food. So he went and asked the mother, why don't you feed the kid? Then at least he will stop crying, because he's crying as if he was hungry. So the mother said, see, he doesn't have the capacity to chew. If it was at home, usually I take the food, chew it, and then feed him. But in front of so many people, I don't think I can do that. That man, he said he didn't know what to do, whether to cry. He just sat there and then decided this was the time. This was the time he has to do something for this kind of children who are born in this world. And from that moment, he has started something which is a miraculous project. I believe he has sold whatever he possessed. That's what he told me. But the support he gets from all over the world and the way he's dreaming of doing wonderful things for these differently able children is not very far away for you to see. So, my friends in Rotary, I think dreams don't die. Dreams do happen. I share my experience again. When tsunami happened, I was in charge of this area. As you heard, I belong to the fraternity of Freemasons, very actively work in that fraternity. My area of operations those times were from Alleppey to Tuticorin. You know, that's the major area in this part where tsunami struck in 2004. Many of our brethren, as we call them, doctors, immediately rushed to many villages, started helping the villagers with medical camps and other sorts. And one day one of the doctors called me and said, they have to be rehabilitated. Can you do something? The first need is a boat and a fishing net. That means then they can start going to work and they will support themselves instead of being, you know, people were helping them most of them were relocated in schools. And aid was forthcoming and food was not in plenty and people, but still they had to be brought back to their regular routine. So a small club like yours from Trivandrum, there's a unit in Masonry, it's called the Lodge. They came forward to donate a catamaran and a fishing net. And I had gone to that fishing village near Kanyakumari, about 15 kilometers, a place called Pallam. And there we were handing over the boats when the village leaders came and was telling the plight of how tsunami struck. And, you know, they don't have a shelter. They were all living in the schools. Now the schools have to be reopened. Now where will they go? They don't have a house to stay. So that's the time I simply dreamt that it would be nice to give them a shelter. So I was not a very high-ranking man in the hierarchy of the Freemasons in the country. It's called the Grand Lodge of India. So I just put up a note saying that if we can build a community center in that fishing village, it would benefit. It would be a shelter in later cases of disaster, but they can use it for their community whatever programs. Soon, luck maybe, or maybe I pursued it all over the country. They headquartered in Delhi, many visits to Delhi. The Grand Lodge had almost 1.65 crores for tsunami relief. So I was given the task of constructing a tsunami shelter of 9,000 square feet, 2 floors with kitchen and everything. So in case of any disaster, coastal sites are always prone to disaster, any kind of storms and things. So we built up that community center and I could finish it in about 9 months' time. It was a dream and it was coming true when one day I used to visit that place twice a week, though I was in Trivandrum. It's almost 100 kilometers. One day I was walking and inspecting the construction. A lady walked up to me, a quite old lady. She said, "You're building such a magnificent edifice, a huge structure, it's good. All the other parts of that village, it has been washed out. So the people were living in thatched huts. In the means, even the walls were thatched. You know, you must have seen them." So she said, "You saw my house? Can't you give me a house?" She asked me. I was so touched, I couldn't believe how can I say anything to her. So I went back to the village elders and asked them, "It's not a problem, I think I can build a house for her. I can ask the people in." They said, "You are into creating a big problem here. How can you build a house for one person here? What about so many people who have lost their houses? You can't do this. You forget it," they said. But that lady's mind, even now I can see the picture of the lady standing before me and asking me, "Can I have a house?" So I went back again and took it up to the administrative body. And the first lot of, they said, "We can do something." We came back to the village. They said, "At least minimum 20 houses, if you can give, we will allow." So we started a working program. They fund half, the village will give the land. So we worked, we started with 20 houses, went to 40, and finally we built a Masonic Nagar. It is still there. They have a huge arch. It's there for posterity for years to come. We built a Masonic Nagar where 75 people. I read about your, in fact, it's our incoming RI president. What do you say? The Scottish have quite a, McNally, I think. He said, create hope, isn't it? So he was talking about a lady who found that Rotarians had helped in tsunami and gave her a shell. I must tell you what the village gave me. I think this is very touching for me because the village gave, that was the time my youngest son was trying to get into his medicine. He was doing his entrance exam. As a parent, you should be going around helping him in doing his entrance test, but I was busy with that. The villagers knew. One Sunday morning, the whole village assembled in a church and they all prayed for him to get his admission, and he got into CMC, and today he is the ENT surgeon attached to CMC. This is what I was wondering, that your RI president just got a shell, but I got something which I can always be happy in my. So following your dreams, quite rewarding and quite fulfilling. I must thank once again the organizers, especially Gia George and everyone, for giving me such a lovely opportunity to meet the leaders of the society of we are part of. Definitely, a day should come when people need help. They should walk to a Rotary Club. When they need help, they go to an astrologer, they may go to a godman, they go to many people. Hardly people go to any of the social organizations. They take from you, but they don't come to you. You try to market yourself and saying, we give, why don't you take it? But they should come. For that, you should dream that we, social organizations, should be part and parcel of this universe where people need hope, people need to trust us, and if they have to have hope, they should trust us. A good quality service will always be rewarding. Once again, thank you all for this lovely afternoon. Thank you.